Happy Thursday, everybody. Today is Data Talk Thursdays with Dan. I hope you all have had a great week so far. This is actually the second full week in June, and the month of June is National Home Ownership Month. So we're doing a lot of activities around town to promote home ownership. Now, today's topic is don't price yourself out of the market. And this is part two of this series we're doing the month of June. Today, specifically, we'll talk about the negotiation process. Last week, we talked about price. Now, once you come to an agreement on the price you're willing to pay for a property, then the negotiations begin. You'll be under contract, is what they refer to it as in the industry, and you'll have some steps in the process to negotiate repairs, or you may negotiate price or other aspects of the transaction. Now, the negotiation process can always be a little bit tricky because, of course, the seller is trying to make as much money on the sale as possible. And the buyer, of course, is trying to spend as little as possible on purchasing the home. So, this negotiation process, this back and forth dance will take place. That way, both sides can come to an agreement on what the final purchase price will be. So let's talk about a few tips that you can take while going through the negotiation process, both as the buyer or in situations where you might be the seller at some point. Now, if you're negotiating the purchase of a home, be sure to stay flexible. You don't want to be so rigid in the negotiation process that you either turn off the seller or you make unreasonable requests for things you want from the seller. Also, what you'll want to do is be willing to compromise during the negotiation process. Now, compromise, that's a bad word to a lot of people, but if you're going to actually go through the process of buying a home, at some point you may have to compromise. There may be things that the seller is just not willing to do, or there may be things you need from the seller also. So the same type of attitude you take toward the negotiation process as a buyer, expect a similar reaction from the seller when you negotiate repairs or other items that you may want. It's important that both sides of the transaction come to an agreement and both parties understand that they're actually getting something from the deal. It can't be all one sided on the seller, and it can't be one sided all on the buyer either. Another tip to think about during the negotiation process is be willing to walk away. If the negotiations have gotten so contentious that it's not beneficial for you as a buyer, be willing to walk away from that deal. You have to be able to buy the home but stay within your budget. So, of course, as you all know, I've told you all many times that we're in a seller's market right now. People are paying well over asking price for some of these homes. But you as a buyer, make sure you don't get caught up in a negotiation process where you're having to pay more for the home or take on more risk to buy that home than you'd be willing to accept. And then finally, keep the big picture in mind as a first time home buyer or a repeat home buyer. Understand that there's other homes out there. The home that you may like This month, you may see a house come on the market a month or two later that you like more. So, if for some reason the negotiations were to fall through, don't feel as if you can't find a home that would still suit you, your family, and your budget. You all have a great day. Talk to you soon.